So this video will give you a guided tour of how the Blackboard for this course is set up. And I'm actually going to start with the home page, with the mybinghamton.edu page, because this is something that's a little different this semester. Instead of a link up here at the top of the page that says Blackboard, you now have this link that says My Courses. You also have My Courses is on the side left, and as is Blackboard. So if you want to get to like one of your previous courses that's still available to you, you'll click on the link for Blackboard and they'll take you to this link, My Courses, and the link up at the top, My Courses, take you to the same place, which is the new Blackboard. Now, that's really the only difference. It's called My Courses and not Blackboard. That's the only difference. It's exactly the same, really. From the user point of view, you should notice absolutely no difference between old Blackboard and new Blackboard, except hopefully it will be less crappy. Last semester, Blackboard was just down so much. So hopefully this new system of hosting it on the cloud will be more stable. That's the idea. So you click on the link for the class and it takes you to the announcements page. So this is where you'll see any announcements that are current for the class, and that you can scroll down to see old announcements. And I will always email the announcements to you as well. So the announcements are the main way I communicate things that the whole class needs to know, any kind of announcement to the whole class. So then the next page is the course overview. So on this page, you'll see a number of different things about the course. And a list of expectations that I have for you and what you can expect from me. And then you will also find the latest copy of the syllabus and the course schedule here. And if I make any changes to the syllabus or the course schedule, I'll upload a new copy. So you should always check the date, and I will also, the date last updated should match the date on the document. So like if you open up the syllabus, you'll see last updated 1/9/17, and that's exactly what it says here. So you can always check your copy of the syllabus if you are keeping a copy, say, on your hard drive, and see if it's the same as the syllabus. I will let you know if I've made any significant changes to the syllabus or the course schedule. So if all I did was fix, I don't know, some typos or something I found or something minor, I'm not going to mention it. You can just look and see if there's a new one. Okay, and then we have various Binghamton University policies and a list of different types of support services. So a lot of this stuff is duplicated in the syllabus, but here it is with clickable links. So make it easy for you. Okay, then the next page is the modules. So this is broken down into 4 parts. So the first part is just one module, just the introduction to the course. And then we have our section on informal logic. And then we move to syllogistic logic, which is logic like the medieval logicians did. So it's a little bit more formalized, but it's still kind of informal. And then finally, we go to propositional logic, which is the modern logic. And the logic of not the same kind of sentences that we use in syllogistic logic. There's a modern way to treat those kind of statements and those kind of arguments. We won't be doing that. So that's something that you would do if you took Philosophy 122. You would actually start with propositional logic, where we're ending, and then you would go on to what's called predicate logic. But we don't do that because that's too much to try to pack into one course. And also, this isn't Philosophy 122. There should be a difference between the 2 courses. So you'll click on, for each of these, when you click on them, they will take you to a folder for the modules. You click on the folder for the modules, and the modules will all be set up the same way. So you'll start out with, actually this one's not the best example because it's missing one thing. So let me actually go back. We'll look at module 2. So we'll go to part 2, informal logic. So it'll contain several folders for the different modules in that section of the course. So we click on Module 2. So this is sort of your home page for Module 2. So it'll always start out with the learning objectives for the module, and then it will let you know what the reading assignment is, and if the reading assignment is a document that I've uploaded, it'll be right there for you. And then a link to the video lectures for the module. That'll take you to my website where the the links to the video lectures live. And then there will be a concept check. And then there will be a folder for the guided practice exercises and a folder for the learning modules. So you'll open up the guided practice exercises and they'll all be right there. At first, if you try to click on the link for the learning modules, if you haven't done the guided practice exercises, you'll open the learning modules and it'll be empty. That's on purpose, because I said in an earlier video, the scaffolding for the class is such that you'll notice it says prerequisite, at least one attempt of guided practice 2.1 is a prerequisite for doing learning module 2.1. So if you haven't yet attempted guided practice 2.1, Blackboard is set up such that learning module 2.1 will not be available to you. As soon as you submit guided practice 2.1, then poof, like magic, learning module 2.1 will be available to you. So that's how the modules are set up. Okay, then this next link that says guided practice, this will take you to my website, and it will take you to all the guided practice. So I've sort of written out the guided practice. This is where the guided practice instructions live. And so within each guided practice, there will be a link to the relevant web page where that instruction lives. But if you want to, the link is there so that if you're like, I don't know, say you're doing learning module 2.1 and you're like, I want to look at the instructions for the guided practice 2.1 at the same time I'm doing the learning module, and that'll help refresh my memory. This is how you can access that. Okay, and then the timed assessments folder. So here's what you will see if you open that. Right now, you can see sort of grayed out, there's a folder that says timed assessments. That's not available to you right now. So right now, you won't see that. However, when it's time for the timed assessments, you will see that. So it'll be right there. And then you'll see when it's time for each thing. So before timed assessment day 1, you will see this. These are just the suggested timed assessments. So this is what you might be ready for. And then there's another one for timed assessment day 2, and that will become available when it's time for that. So it's sort of set up to release. So you'll only see like one at a time. Okay. But so just to set up how it will look when you're ready to do timed assessments, so you'll click on the link that says timed assessments. And inside here, it will say, there are different modules. And so the timed assessments for that module will be in that folder. So if you wanted to do timed assessments 2.1 through 2.3, you would click on this, and when the time has started, you'll be able to take those. So you'll have to remember which ones that you've requested and go to the right folders for those. You'll be able to know which ones you've requested because below the sort of list of suggested timed assessments for that current timed assessment period will be, well, actually below that will be the link that will only be available during the time when it's time to do it for you to request your timed assessments. But below that will be, so your name, and it'll list your timed assessments for timed assessment day 1. And, this list will be modified so that it fits what you requested. So you'll have a list, and this list will be visible only to me and to you. So each student, when they go to the page, let's say it's timed assessment day 1, or it's getting ready for timed assessment day 1, what you will see is you'll see this timed assessment folder. You will see the suggested timed assessments. However, the timed assessment folder, even though it's available and the subfolders are available, nothing inside them will be available until it's time for your timed assessment day, the period to start, the 24-hour period. But then you'll see the suggested timed assessments for timed assessment day 1, and you will see all of this stuff will be hidden. You will see a place to request your timed assessments for timed assessment day 1. And then once I've received your requests, you will see the list of what you've requested. So I will ask you to go and double check that to make sure I have all your requests transcribed correctly so that we're in agreement about what it is that you're going to do during that timed assessment day period. So there's a lot of stuff on this page, but the amount that you will see at any given time will be a very manageable amount and will all make sense. Okay. All right. Then natural argument projects. These aren't open and available to you yet, but when they are, this is what they'll look like. So there's just the policy for collaboration and academic honesty for all the projects. Then there are a link to some examples of natural argument projects. So these are ones that I have done, so you can kind of see how this works, like how you might do this. So here's a natural argument that I did. So you have the example, the source, and then it takes you and sort of progressively, step by step, it'll take you through it. So you can actually kind of go through this by yourself and do it for yourself, do the formalization, and then you could look at my answer and sort of see if they agree. So you could practice doing natural arguments. Now you can't use this one as a natural argument because I've already done it. So you need to find your own examples. Then I have some sources for natural arguments. So these are some that I have just collected over the years. I don't promise that they are, in fact, natural arguments or statements that you could use for any of the projects, but they might be. So that's one source that you could look for some of the projects. And then you'll see the projects themselves. So there's a description of the project and the instructions, and then you can click on this link and it will take you to a Blackboard test where you'll fill in what you need for the project. And that should all be clear within it. So you'll just see all the projects just listed. And if some of them have sources that you can use, so I will be putting links to other sources that you can use or descriptions of that. So that's where the natural argument projects will live. Then there's this, actually I can make this available. It is not available to you, but I can make it available. Okay, so this is where where it says earning extra tokens, here's where I will keep a list of different ways that you can earn extra tokens in the class. So there's one currently. It's not a very likely one that anyone will be able to do, but if you do come across some cool extra tool that kind of makes what we're doing easier, I would be delighted to have you share it with me. And if I decide to use it in the class, either in this class or in a future class, I'll give you a token for it. So if you happen across something, then there may be other ways to earn tokens throughout the semester. The next link takes you to the webpage for the handouts and the video lectures. So it just takes you to the whole page. Each module will have a link to the handouts and video lectures for that module within the module. So this is just if you don't want to go digging into a module to find a particular thing, you can just go to the home page to find a particular video or handout. Okay, then this link where it says progress reports, there's nothing here right now, but there will be. So periodically throughout the semester, say 2 or 3 times a semester, I will be writing up progress reports for you, for each of the students in the class, kind of letting you know whether you're sort of on track for the grade that you want to get. So kind of letting you know where you're at and sort of where you should be in order to get, say, an A or a B in the class. These progress reports will just like live here. There will be a folder with your name on it. That folder will be visible only to you and myself. So you'll be able to go there and you'll be able to see all your progress reports. Okay, then the next link takes you to the discussion board. So we're probably not going to use this a ton. We are using the coffee house. We're using that as part of one of the learning modules in module 1. And you can feel free to use it after that, just if you want to just like hang out and talk with people in the class. It's a good place for informal chit chat, whatever you want to do. Then the others are various places for you to ask questions about different things in the course. So what I ask you to do in the syllabus is, instead of emailing me with questions about stuff in the class that everybody else would want to know too, if you're like, where do I find this? How do I do this? I'm having a problem doing this. Anything that anyone else would legitimately have the same question about, and it should know the answer to as well, you should post it here in one of these forums. So if it's some question about sort of how something works in the class, that's sort of nuts and bolts of how the class works, you should post it in the first discussion forum. If it's something that you're having some problem with the technology in the course, either Blackboard or some of the other technology in the course, you can post it under technical help. And then if you have questions that are specifically about some of the course material, so if you don't understand some of the material in the course, you can post it in this forum. And this one it's all set up with threads. So this one, the first 2 forums, you can just post your own question. These, you can't post your own question, start your own thread. What you do instead is click on, so if you have a question about something in module 1, you click on module 1 and you ask your question there. Now, if you have questions about, anything that's personal, so if you need to be excused from a class for some reason, if you're not going to be in class and you think it counts as an excused absence, and you want to let me know that you're not going to be in class and why, you should send me an email. So you can do that by clicking on the send email link, and by clicking on, all instructor users, which would be just me. You can also find me under the single and select users, I believe. I should be in here. Yeah, so you can also find me there. So send me an email via that, for things like if you have to be absent from class and if you want to give me a reason that will count as an excused absence. Do that. Email me before class. If you have some question about your grades, anything that's personal. If you want to set up a meeting with me, obviously not everybody needs to know about that. So you can just send me an email directly. If you want to use a token, if you need to adjust what time or day your timed assessment day will start. If for some reason the default time and day doesn't work for you, you can send me an email about that sort of thing. That's really just between me and you. Okay, then we have the link that says office hours. So this, I need to fix this. I'll fix it right now. So my on-campus office hours are actually Tuesdays from, Tuesdays are from 3 to 4 p.m. and Thursdays from 12 to 1 p.m. Also, my office is not in LT 1300 anymore. It's in the Science Library 304. Okay. So basically, office hours are Tuesdays after class and Thursdays before class, effectively. And I can also do office hours on, like after class on Thursdays, if need be, and oftentimes before class on Tuesday as well. So you can kind of just send me an email if the official times aren't good for you. Send me an email. If we can set up a time on Tuesday or Thursday when we can meet in person, that's usually the best. It's usually the easiest to meet face-to-face, so I will do my best to do that, but I'm only on campus Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you need to meet with me someday that's not a Tuesday or Thursday, then we can do it via an application called Zoom. It's an online conferencing software. So it's pretty simple to use. It's free. It's cross-platform. But if for some reason Zoom doesn't work for you, we can maybe work out some other way. Like I have done FaceTime with students who, like say, didn't have a personal. So in order to use Zoom, you need to have your own laptop or some kind of mobile device. I don't know if Zoom also works for like iPads or notebooks or phones, like iPhones or anything like that. I don't know. I also use Skype. I also have Skype, and I know Skype works on, like, say, phones. So we could also Skype. Anyway, basically, it's a way for us to meet face-to-face when we're not actually face-to-face. So we can do that if need be. Okay. Let's see. The next link takes my contact info, which is not here. I will put that there. Basically, it'll just repeat like where my office is and where what my office hours are. So there will be information there. The link, my gradebook, I already went through this in the video on the gradebook. This is where your Google Doc will live, your Google spreadsheet that I'll be keeping for you. After the end of add drop period, I'll fix that up. And then accessing graded assignments is sort of the Blackboard way. This is what's usually called My Grades, the Blackboard terrible way of accessing your graded assignments or the things that you've done. Another way you can access most of them is through the modules. If you click on an assignment, what are the Blackboard tests, it gives you an option to view previous attempts. The only ones that's not going to work for are the timed assessments because they're not going to be visible to you after the due date, after the end of the period. So if you want to see a graded timed assessment, you will have to come here to My Grades. So what I recommend for Mac users, there's like a command, you press the command button and the F, and that lets you search the web page. I'm sure that other computers have a similar way of doing something like this. So search the website. So you're like, I want to see timed assessment 2.1. Why isn't that coming up? Oh, is it because, no? I don't know why that's not coming up. I think there is one. All right, let's just search on 2.1. It's sort of weirding me out now. I'm pretty sure I've set one of those up, so I'll have to look into that. But anyway, you'll be able to access everything. There aren't multiple pages here, are there? It should be all. You can also, interestingly, you can sort this. Last activity. So I don't know if that seems to be like last activity for someone in the class. I don't know. Anyway, okay. So that's how Blackboard is set up. Sorry, that was very long-winded and sometimes rambling, but everything hopefully should be easy for you to find. That's my goal. That's how I've tried to set it up. So please let me know if you can't find something. I will show you where it is.